It all started on a sunny Thursday afternoon when my wife, Commander Alyssa, finally came home after a 7-month deployment aboard the USS George H.W. Bush. I took the day off to welcome her back. We pulled into the driveway, and I could see her face light up seeing home again, our little slice of peace in a gated HOA neighborhood. Not 10 minutes after we got inside, still in her uniform, there was a knock at the door. It was Karen, HOA president, clipboard in hand. She didn't even say hello, just launched into a speech about how Alyssa's car wasn't properly registered with the HOA, how military uniforms shouldn't be worn in public areas, and that unauthorized guests weren't allowed to stay overnight without HOA approval. I was stunned. Alyssa had been home for exactly 9 minutes. I tried to explain she lived here, that she was my wife, and she just returned from active duty. But Karen cut me off. Rules are rules. If you don't comply, I'll have to escalate this. 2 hours later, 2 patrol cars pulled up. Karen had actually called the police. I was angry, but Alyssa stayed calm. She stepped out the front door, still in uniform, and approached the officers. One of them instantly saluted her. She saluted back and said, "Commander Alyssa Monroe, U.S. Navy. I live here. This is my home." The look on Karen's face was priceless. The officer turned to her and asked, "Ma'am, did you knowingly call in a false report?" Karen stammered, trying to change the story, saying she was just concerned about security. But the officer wasn't buying it. He gave her a very polite but firm warning. Filing a false police report was a serious offense. He even asked if Alyssa wanted to press charges. We didn't. Alyssa said she didn't come home to start a war with the neighborhood, but that wasn't the end. A few days later, at the monthly HOA meeting, I showed up with Alyssa, in full dress uniform. We both sat quietly as Karen tried to run the meeting like nothing had happened, but word had gotten around. Several neighbors stood up and demanded Karen resign. One elderly veteran said, "Anyone who disrespects a service member like that has no business leading this community." By a show of hands, the board voted Karen out, right there on the spot. Since then, the neighborhood's been peaceful. Alyssa and I go on evening walks, and we're greeted with smiles and thank yous. Karen? She moved out 2 months later. Her house still hasn't sold, all because she picked the wrong Navy wife to mess with.